Companies have a financial, a moral, and a legal obligation to work safely.
Welcome to Thought Talk, Positivity in Motion. Hosted by best-selling author, speaker, and coach C. Ray Collins.
Communication is still a very important key in making it positive is something that we don't do enough of.
C. Ray visits with members of our communities and leaders of local businesses on how they share a positive message during difficult and good times. And now, here's C. Ray.
Welcome to Thought Talk, Positivity in Motion, where we try to talk about everything positive. And today I have a guest. He is a Director of Safety for Core Safety Group, and Bill French is his name. And Bill, I appreciate you being here.
I'm glad to be here, very much so.
Yeah, and so before we get into talking about your company and the things they do, tell us a little bit about yourself.
So I'm originally from a small town about an hour north of Dallas called Howe, Texas. My mom and dad still live there. I've worked in Dallas now for coming up on 14 years, but right after high school I went up to Durant, Oklahoma, got my degree in safety, occupational safety and health from Southeastern Oklahoma State. Worked for a while, went back and also got my master's degree from there as well. I was lucky enough to play football while I was there. And then now, working in Dallas, I actually don't live too far from here with my beautiful wife, Katie, and a couple of our dogs. We've got Bogey and Birdie, so I'm kind of a golf nerd, so that's why I've got dogs named Birdie and Bogey.
How did you come up with the names there?
It's pretty easy, yeah.
Okay. So, yeah, Core Safety Group, of course, is I'll let you talk a little bit about them, but they work all over the United States, and you being a director of, so what part of the United States are you a director of?
So, Core Safety Group, we're a nationwide safety consulting firm. We've got two corporate offices. We've got Chattanooga, Tennessee as our home office, then our other corporate office is here in the Dallas area. So I'm the director, and my territory is everything west of the Mississippi River. And then the Chattanooga office also has a director, and he covers everything east of the Mississippi.
Okay. So we talk about safety and health. Of course, I come out of construction industry, and that's how you and I met. But you do more than just construction when it comes to safety and health.
I would say that 85% of our clients are construction companies. The other 15% makes up insurance companies, owners, developers, manufacturing settings. But predominantly construction is what we do. Our main three lines of service are safety training, program management, and staffing. So as a safety consulting firm, people come to us all the time and they want us to do safety training classes, whether that's OSHA classes or topic-specific classes like fall protection or scaffolds or ladders, whatever the case may be. But then we also do program management. So for smaller companies, and some even very large companies that just choose to go this route, but they're able to outsource their safety department to us. So we literally are their safety department.
Yeah.
We do everything an internal safety department would do. And then we also do safety professional staffing. So on several job sites, companies want to put a full-time safety person on the project to be there all day and watch over safety. And they're able to reach out to us and get a person through our company to be represent them and be on the job site.
Okay, so for people who don't know, safety and health programs administration originally has been around for quite a few years, but then OSHA was formulated, which is Occupational Safety and Health Administration, formulated in the early 1970s. And so what y'all do, it falls all under the OSHA regulation, and as far as not just the act of how you work, but also the training and the requirements and that kind of stuff. So you want to get into that a little bit and do a little better job explaining OSHA to our audience.
That's kind of my it's a little bit. I meet a lot of people every day, and some people that don't know, and they say, "What do you do?" And I'm like, "Oh, well, I'm a director for a safety consulting firm." And they're like, "Safety consulting?" I'm like, "Well, we're kind of like OSHA advisors." And they're like, "Oh, OSHA, okay, all right." So they kind of get a little bit of a sense of what we're doing. But the Occupational Safety and Health Administration, OSHA, was formed in 1970. They have several standards, regulations, and these are federal laws, whether that's in the construction industry, general industry, maritime, or agricultural. So the government has come up with regulations, laws that employers are supposed to abide by to provide safe and healthful workplaces for their people. So we are here to help basically make sure that your company is in compliance with OSHA regulations. We will write your safety programs. We will visit your job sites. We'll do training. We'll monitor what's going on culturally, because that's a huge part in what safety is. It's not just following the rules, but safety has to be something that's ingrained into a company's culture. It's everybody talks about it, all the way from the CEO, the CFO, down to the laborer. I mean, everybody wants to know how's safety doing. It's got to be on the topic of. It's got to be on everyone's mind.
Yeah. So, and when Bill mentioned that the regulation stuff for federal law, it also means that you can be prosecuted if you don't follow these rules and regulations. Not just the company, but even the individuals.
There have been cases where if someone could prove actual negligence by the supervisor, there could be criminal charges brought towards the supervisor who put the worker in harm's way and got himself hurt. So really, companies have a financial, a moral, and a legal obligation to work safely. If they're not working safely, and they're having a lot of accidents, it's going to lead to them shutting their doors anyway, because they can't afford the repercussions of having all these accidents. So they've got the financial aspect that they have to abide by. Then they have the legal aspect. OSHA does put laws in place. They have to follow these laws. They're not guidelines. They're literal federal laws. And then lastly is the moral obligation. Every company owner, every business owner should want to send their employees home the same way that they came to work. Safe, in one piece, home to their families, able to return again the next day and come back to work.
Yeah, and just like other laws, these laws are updated from time to time, and then you have to go back and re-educate and retrain people on the new laws or how they modified or changed.
Yep, things do change, things evolve, and you want to make sure that everybody understands what the current procedures and rules are.
Yeah. So, thinking about safety itself, safety and health, or taking care of well-being of people is a very positive act.
It is.
And you care for them, make sure they go home the same way they came to work. So what are some of the positive steps you take to reinforce, I guess, these rules and
Really,
regulations?
one of the first things I try to tell people is that as safety professionals, and then anyone who's a supervisor in their company that's trying to enforce, safety rules, is you have to be a safety coach, not a safety cop. You have to, get in front of people, engage them, and start to ask, hey, why are you doing that? Do you understand that this could happen if you keep doing it that way? Ask them why they're doing it, talk about the consequences, and then try to get them to understand that there's a better way to do it. If you come in and all you want to do is fuss at people and be punitive, you're not making any friends. So definitely be a safety coach, not a safety cop. At the end of the day, you're going to get more of a long-term impact from coaching people rather than just being punitive in your actions.
Well, then that goes back to the culture. If you've got the culture where everybody is involved with the safety program, then it's not a negative thing. It's all positive, because everybody is standing up for everybody's well-being.
That's right. We get a lot of clients who want to put safety incentive programs in place or safety award programs in place, and we always encourage them to award the behaviors that you want to see. So let's say you wanted a forklift driver to inspect his forklift every morning before he used it. Well, if you tell him that, if you inspect your forklift every single day for 30 days straight, we're going to give you an award. So you're awarding the behaviors that you want him to do. Now, the positive consequence to that is that by inspecting his machine every day, if there's ever anything wrong with it, he's identified it. He may have prevented an accident. So you're not rewarding the lack of the accident. You're rewarding the behavior that's preventing the accident.
Right. And you just brought up another aspect when you talk about safety and health. It's not just the actions that you do when you work, but there's also quite a bit of documentation.
There's a lot of documentation
and a lot of paperwork that goes along. That's part of this law or regulations.
Many of us like to say, if it's not written down, it didn't happen.
Right.
So we definitely want to write things down, document what we need to document, and file it and store it accordingly, because you never know how long or how far back you're going to need to go find something.
So you've been doing this about, 13 years, you said?
Yep, 13 coming up on 14.
Coming up 14 years. So is there any particular situation that's ever happened where you say, man, I'm glad I did that, because that could have killed somebody, or...
That's tough to I've had so many interactions over the years with safety or with workers, but it does bring to mind the fact that A friend of mine, his wife, he's also a safety colleague. His wife asked him one day, what did you do today? And he said, I saved someone's life today. She says, well, what do you mean? He said, well, I saw a guy. He was he's on the very top of a ladder, and it's very unsafe. And I walked over there and I got his attention and got him down. And we talked about it, and he went and got a bigger ladder, and he went back to work, and everything turned out okay. It was safe. She goes, well, how do you know you saved his life? She says, well, how do you know I didn't?
That's right. Yeah.
So many times when we see something, we've got to engage it. We've got to cover the situation, because we never know if we just walk off what could happen if we don't address it. So, when it's people on ladders wrong, or people not tied off in a fall protection situation, they're working at heights and they're putting themselves at a risk for a fall. We really have to be people persons. I will say that as a safety person. We say all the time that I can teach someone safety, but I can't teach someone how to be a people person.
Right.
And the best safety professionals are people persons. I mean, we like to engage, we like to talk, we want to hear about you, and then we want to start steering you towards understanding what our job is, what our role is, and why safety is so important.
So, as a safety professional, what are some of the safety certifications and stuff that you would have to have?
There is a board of certified safety professionals. It has a fairly extensive range of certifications. I myself, a lot of our colleagues have what's called a CSP. It's a certified safety professional. That would be the top level of certification. It's I tell people who aren't familiar with the safety profession, it's kind of like if you were an accountant and you went and got your CPA.
Right.
Well, I'm a safety professional, so I have a CSP. They also have other certifications, the OHST or CHST. These are construction or general industry level certifications. But I would definitely encourage anybody who's looking at getting certified to be a safety person to look at the Board of Certified Safety Professionals and look at their list of certifications.
So these certifications, are they recognized by OSHA or?
They are. It's interesting, as a CSP, as you know, coming out of construction, professional engineers have a stamp.
Right.
Well, as a CSP, I can also have a stamp. I don't know what I would stamp with it. It would look really cool,
Yeah.
but I don't know what I would stamp with my CSP stamp. So it is recognized as a premier credential, kind of as an expert in your field.
So OSHA itself offers certifications as well, do they? not?
They do. They're more of just training certifications. They're not necessarily a professional credential.
Oh, okay.
So you've got a couple of your most common are your OSHA 10-hour class or your OSHA 30-hour class. That class itself can be focused on construction or general industry. So a lot of your craft hands, we recommend having an OSHA 10-hour. A lot of your supervisor level person, your foreman level people, we recommend having an OSHA 30-hour. There's also a class called the OSHA 510. Now, the only two classes that are actually from OSHA that are labeled for the number of hours of instruction are the 10 and the 30, which is kind of comical. And the reason I say that is if I tell someone I have my OSHA 510, they're like, "Oh man, you took 510 hours of instruction." It's like, no, it's just a class. It's just a class number. So there's the OSHA 510, and then there's also the OSHA 500. The OSHA 500 is a certification that it's basically an authorization that if you go get your OSHA 500 or go take the OSHA 500 course, it turns you into an authorized instructor. So at that point, you yourself can teach OSHA 10-hour and OSHA 30-hour classes.
Right. And when you're talking about classes, and again, I'm coming out of construction industry, you talk about safety belt training or ladder use training or scaffold training, that type of training is what you're covering.
Yes, scissor lift, or boom lift training, confined space awareness training, excavation training.
Right.
There's so many different aspects of, as we know, of building a building, whether it's foundation work or working at heights. There's just so many moving parts, and it's very, very dynamic. There's a lot of areas to cover.
So just for our audience here, how about mention a couple of the projects y'all doing locally and maybe a couple nationally?
Sure. In the Texas area, and I'll mention some that we've either are working on right now or just completed in the past that people would recognize. So
Right.
Currently in the Texas area, we're working on the Tesla project down in Austin, Texas. Very happy to be a part of that at this point, and we're also working on a few Amazon projects in the Dallas area. We've also done some stadium work over the years. We're just for those who enjoy football and just saw the first football game recently in the SoFi Stadium. We worked on that project. We also had a very significant part in the Mercedes-Benz Stadium in Atlanta, so we've done some stadium work. Aviation is also a focus for a lot of construction companies. So right alongside those companies, we service them as well, whether that's at Reagan or Dulles Airport,
Right.
or LAX Airport, or even Miami Airport.
Right.
So lots of airport work. We also work in the renewable energy sector. So solar farms, wind farms, very large solar farms all over West Texas, California, New York, Minnesota, and then same with wind farms. A lot of wind farms out in Texas or California. So obviously renewable energy is a big focus for a lot of companies, and we're right alongside them to help provide safety coverage.
So in your area, your profession, of course, like I say, I come up through construction. So just about everybody is a safety rep. They do have some type of certification. Right?
They do. The other route that I encourage people that are looking into getting into safety, other than the BCSP certifications, is your local OTI. It's your OSHA Training Institute. Here in the Dallas area, we have 2 OTIs. We have TEACS and we have University of Texas in Arlington. So people can go there and take a myriad of courses and get a certification called their COSHO or their SHEP, and all these acronyms stand for certain things. COSHO
Right.
stands for Certified Safety and Health Official. So at this point, most of your safety professionals have some sort of certification.
Yeah, because years ago they didn't.
No,
You know,
they didn't.
That's right.
No,
Yeah, that's
and
right.
you know, and that's a big factor in what we do as far as a company and our safety professional staffing. A lot of these projects that ask for a full-time on-site safety professional will have a safety specification in place that requires a certain number of years of experience or a certain knowledge base or a certain certification. So we specialize in going out and finding those people who meet that specification to put them on that project for that client.
I think one of the things that might surprise some of the audience, even people, when you see these big tire cranes that are up in the air and building buildings, safety professional is also usually involved in the erection of that crane. Not just the construction, but just direction of that crane. You need a safety person involved. So, and I'm sure you've done a few of those.
That's actually one area of construction that I've always been a huge fan of and been very passionate about was cranes and moreover tower cranes. I got very lucky early on in my career to assist the Fort Worth Fire Department. Not too long after that, I assisted the Richardson Fire Department and the Plano Fire Department in training on high angle rescues from tower cranes.
Right.
And then at one point in my career, I actually had to assist and perform a high angle rescue from a tower crane. So I've always thought tower cranes were just one of the neatest part of what we do. Obviously, they're very visible.
Yeah. So talking about the tire crane, for the operator to get in the tire crane, he crawls a ladder to get up to the tire crane. If he has an emergency or he's injured or something in the cab of the crane, then you have to figure out how to get him down, and that's where safety professionals come in and help figure out how to get him out of the crane and get him back to the ground. So
There's definitely not an elevator that gets you up and down.
no, that's exactly right. You're right. They did, now most of them at least have some type of little trolley, or not trolley, but a little winch.
Yeah.
Yeah, that helps them. So that's a little bit different. So when you first come on, say somebody hires you on a brand new project, just hadn't broke ground. What are some of the first steps that you have to go through, or some of the first things that you? I know you got to put a safety program together. You
So
survey the site.
So going back to our main 3 lines of service, training, safety professional staffing, and then program management. We call our program management service our Safe Assist program. So if we first engage a client, whether that's the client himself or on a project basis, so let's say it's a brand new client to us, and they've never had a safety team, they've never had a safety department, nobody really has never championed or worn the safety hat in their company. We're going to come in and we're going to do what we call our safety program assessment. It's kind of a deep dive into where they stand currently in regards to their safety culture. So looking at their current safety policies or procedures or programs, looking at their training records, looking at, insurance claims, loss runs, what's your EMR, things of that nature. And we're going to do a deep dive into that and figure out where you stand now. And then we're going to establish some immediate action items and then some longer term goals. So what I like to tell people is when you hire a core safety group, and we are your safety department, we are not a disinterested third party. Right. We are going to act as if we sat in your office and ran your safety program, because that's what, in essence, that's what we really are doing.
Right.
We're going to get to know your safety. You're going to get to know your team. We want them to look at us as their safety team. And then from a staffing standpoint, if a brand new client hires us, something that we do a little bit different is all of our safety advisors are true core safety employees. When we put them on the job site, we don't just give you a person and leave the client up to managing the person. So part of what I do as a director is I go out and I visit the job sites regularly, and I'm seeing our safety advisor. I'm kind of a liaison between our safety advisor and our client and the project, making sure everybody's on the same page, making sure everything's being done properly. Some people that say that they also do safety professional staffing will give you a safety person, and then they kind of leave them up to the client to manage.
Right.
The way that we like to do it is we want to be there right in the midst of everything, helping right along the process, make sure our person's doing what they're supposed to be doing, giving the service that we expect.
So, in day-to-day operations, being a director, like you say, part of your job is going site to site. So, what else is curtailed to being a director?
We are not. I would not call us a huge corporation. We employ roughly anywhere between 90 to 100 people, depending on how the safety staffing is going.
Right.
As we've grown, we've hired on more people and we've divvied up a lot of roles, but still as a leadership team, we wear a lot of multiple hats. Part of what I'm doing as a director, I'm also working on our sales and marketing team as well, working on our social media team, coordinating our safety managers and their efforts, again, being a liaison between clients and safety advisors. So we all wear a lot of different hats. And with my territory being everything west of the Mississippi, I do have to travel quite a bit.
Yeah, I'm sure you do, no question.
Yeah.
So, like I say, we talk about safety being a positive aspect. Like I say, you're not only helping companies, but you're helping individuals to be safe and people go home the way they came to work. But on the company side, your corporation is a pretty good corporate neighbor.
We do try to be a good corporate citizen. We recently, some of the charities that we support the Ronald McDonald House. We support the North Texas Food Bank. We are a title sponsor for a golf tournament that actually raises money for people getting degrees or certifications in safety. So it's scholarship money for that.
Right.
We've done several things for Habitat for Humanity. As our company continues to grow, we're at a point where we're really looking for a cause to rally around and truly focus on. There's so many great causes out there.
Sure.
But we're, and we've tried to always be a good corporate citizen. For those who get a lot, you should give a lot.
Absolutely.
And we really do adhere to that. But we're kind of at a crossroads right now, where as a company, where we're looking inward and we're trying to identify a really good cause that we can really focus on and rally around as a company. So we'll see what that turns out to be.
Yeah,
I'm looking forward to it.
And then personally, you're involved in what was it, Campfire?
So I'm involved in an organization. It's a nonprofit called Camp Firewalker, and what we do is we take young men camping. We normally have a spring and a fall camp out. These are young men that they live in the inner city. They live in smaller multifamily communities. And I, being from a small town north of Dallas, I grew up in a country area, as did a lot of our members, our volunteers that help put on the camp out. So, we grew up hunting and fishing or boating or just being outdoors. So what Camp Firewalker is, or what our goal is we're able to take kids on a camp out and share with them an outdoor experience, and at the same time try to have a brief period where we can show them some leadership skills, some integrity, some honesty, and kind of be a positive influence in that aspect. It's really, really fun when you see a 13-year-old kid catch his first fish ever and not want to touch it.
Yeah, and it can't get much more positive than that.
It's really, really fun.
It affected the kid as well as it's a rewarding experience for yourself. So, and that's great. I like to see that kind of stuff. before we close out today, is anything extra you might want to add or talk about that?
I do want to
we
say
haven't
that safety, culturally for any company, it is an investment, and so many of our clients come to us after something very negative has happened, whether that's an OSHA interaction or a very serious incident, and at that point, it's a little late. We're going to show up and do our best to work with you at that point, but I really encourage any business owner, especially construction companies or manufacturers or whatever the case may be, if you don't have any sort of safety culture or anyone wearing the safety hat in your company, please reach out to us early. But before all of a sudden it's reactionary, something bad has happened, and we're here, and then we come in and try to pick up the pieces with you.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
make the
That's the last way
investment.
you wanna
Make
come
the
in,
investment early. You'll reap the benefits. So many times when a company's safety culture is strong, you'll also see other impacts when it comes to their quality, their production, their overall morale in the company. This tends to lead to a company winning more work. Safety can be a competitive edge. We have a lot of clients that don't they don't win some jobs because their safety is lacking,
Right.
and other companies win more jobs because their safety is very world class.
Yeah. So, and going back to what you said earlier, if it's a young company just starting out and there needs some assistance in setting up their program, y'all quite available for that as well.
We definitely are, and if you're a company who you've always done it this way and nothing bad's ever happened,
Yeah.
I'd always rather be good than lucky. So please give us a call.
There is no luck in safety.
There's not.
That's right, absolutely right. So if somebody wanted to contact Core Safety Group, you got some contact information?
I sure do. You can reach out to us on our website. It's very simple. It's www.coresafety.com. All of our content information is there. You can look me up on LinkedIn. Bill French with Core Safety Group. All of my content information is there.
Very good then. Well, Bill, I want to thank you for being here today.
No, I enjoyed it.
Like I say, safety is involved in everything that we do. People don't really realize that, but even when you walk into a supermarket or something, there is some kind of safety and health program already set up for these kind of things. So,
For sure.
Maybe we'll do this again sometime.
I hope so. Yeah.
All right, I appreciate it. Everybody out there, y'all have a positive day. Smile at somebody. Thank you.